Well, happy Thursday, everybody. I'm Dr. Lori Davis, and this is our VIP day. Voices of Indigenous people, very important people, voices of veterans. We dedicate Thursdays to those groups of beautiful people who have so much to share and so much to teach us. Right now, though, I have some thank yous before I introduce my guest today, Dr. Len, and just want to thank the Disability Channel for the opportunity to broadcast 5 days a week, every day. It's just amazing what's happening. And also, right now, we're streaming live on 15 different platforms right now. Lori Davis Facebook page, I'll just give you a few. YouTube, Lori Davis Show Host, Self-Worth the Missing Link, Superstars Facebook page. And also, we have partnered with Your Home TV, which is a huge platform in the United States. So just want a big shout out to Sean and Dana, who have worked so diligently and hard to get us up and running there. And yeah, we grew, like in 2 weeks, we've grown 200%. So isn't that amazing? Wow, just can't say enough. All right. So today I'm really excited and proud to have my good friend Dr. Len with us, former Grand Chief Leonard Standing on the road, and he's going to be talking to us today. And we're going to have a discussion about what's going on in the communities. Welcome to the show, Dr. Len.
Glad to be in the show, Lori. Dr. Lori, I'm grateful to be on your show and express my views.
Yeah, we'll have some fun in the meantime. So Dr. Len and I have been friends for a very long time, and we've done quite a bit of business together, and he's always been a big supporter of mine and the programs that we offer. And he has so much to share and lots of knowledge and wisdom, so really glad to have you here. So we're going to start right away. You and I had a discussion about, we thought that COVID was a pandemic, but there are many other pandemics going on that maybe our viewers are not even aware of or familiar with. And I was sharing with Dr. Len yesterday, I shared the medicine wheel because a lot of our viewers have no idea what we're talking about. So I just want to say, though, before we start, you see my little red dress? Look, I love my little red dress. And this was a gift from the minister's office. And thank you for taking us there, Dr. Len. And I want to wear my little red dress on Thursdays because this is a symbol of missing and murdered Indigenous men, women, and children now. So that's what the symbol of the red dress is. And we'd love to have some people on who are involved in that movement to learn more about how we can support them. All right. So what's going on, Dr. Len? What pandemic is going on in your community? What would you say is the biggest issue around that right now?
One of the major issues in our communities throughout the province or even all over across Canada is the COVID might be over, but there's still some people that are dying from COVID. But the other thing that really manifested itself out of this pandemic is the drug problem that we're having. Opioids and all kinds of drugs that are infiltrating our communities. And even our own people are capitalizing on it because there's a lot of drug dealers that are setting up shop on the res, and RCMP they know about them, but they're having a hard time to try and infiltrate the people that are.
Wow.
And our young people are dying off. it seems like suicide, but the OD and they don't even know what kind of drug they're getting into. It's a lot of a lot of our young people. They get into the wrong crowd, or they just want to belong to a crowd, and somebody offers them a
Hmm.
experiment in a drug, and they don't make it. So that's a real tough time for the whole community. Once you bury somebody, then you don't even have time to grieve, and another family experiences it, and nobody's immune to it.
Wow.
And the government is not really, they're aware of it, but they don't know what to do or they don't want to do anything. It seems like they don't want to do anything, but and there's always that jurisdictional issue. The province can only do so much off reserve, and that's their excuse, is they don't want to give us the funding to be
Hmm.
able to help ourselves.
Right. So,
We have very capable people that can help us, but as a First Nations, we're being funded by the government, but there's strict rules on how we're going to be spend. We're supposed to spend our money, and
so that's a lot of control when you think about it. You get the
yes,
money and then they tell you how to spend it. That's like when my mom would send me money in a birthday card and say, back in the day, I'd put a $10 bill in there for my birthday and say, use this to get your hair done. Well, maybe I would have rather gone and had a pedicure. But you see what I mean? That's about control.
and it's kind of a well. For instance, in my community, we're building the economic development portion where we create jobs, and in order to fill the human resources positions that we need, we have to hire outside, and our none of our people are really willing to come and try it out. And if we do, there's a process that they have to go through, and a lot of times they don't make it to the position that they're supposed to be hired for. So
Oh, wow. Right.
and a lot of our young people that are educated and have degrees, we don't have the positions for them. We have to work towards that.
Right. So that then they can come back and service the community.
Yeah, that's exactly. And a lot of the housing issues, where they're going to live. But of course, some of our people, they prefer to live off reserve, and that's their comfort. And
Right.
for safety probably too.
Right.
So there's a lot of issues that are overwhelming us, and we don't really have the capacity to deal with it because we're in a crisis mode all the time.
Right. Well, I connected when you said, you just have one funeral, and before you know it, there's another one. And another challenge there that I see is the communities are very tight knit, and everybody is affected when there's a death.
Yeah, everything's
Every like everybody, and there's also that connection in other communities. So I'm living in Montana Bend, but I've got a cousin in, Lorange, or I've got a cousin in Pelican Narrows, so the family ties are pretty tight, right?
yeah, and there's always an issue with funding or money issues. If somebody dies on another reserve, how do you get those?
Yeah,
The family has to help each other out, or they don't, and
right.
it
I
really
mean, they might not even have a vehicle, right?
uh,
Wow. So what about, okay, so we know the drugs are there. Tell us a little bit about the gang activity, and that's probably connected to the drugs. Would I be right about that?
Very much so, because all the drug dealers that are operating, because recently there was a raid in our reserve, and they they raided the house. They arrested the home occupant that is doing the drug dealing, but also six other people. They call them runners. I guess those are the ones that deliver the drugs or everything. And they found a whole bunch, a cache of cash. They arrested him, but they took him to court and they let him go. They let him back into the community. And community members are wondering what's going on. How come he's back? Those
Yeah,
sort of.
right, right.
So we have to really confront the justice system and not having the capacity to be able to do anything.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's really
Right. Well, we're busy. We'll get into it when Jay comes on about some opportunities that we're working on to support some of the situations. But so we've got the drugs, we've got the gangs. Tell us a little bit about, because your community has been very progressive, though, and that's because of your leadership
yeah.
regarding infrastructure. And let's talk a little bit about the challenges, and then we'll talk about, the great stuff too. So, what about housing? Why has that always been a problem in the communities?
How's it? We only have so much land to be able to build houses, and a lot of it is prime farmland. So the land occupant is not willing to give a few acres for houses to be built, and also the cost of the infrastructure that needs to be created because we got to have water and the sewage. The whole infrastructure to take care of the units.
Right.
We're
Isn't there?
slowly working our way towards that, and the Department of Indian Affairs, is working with us. But all this planning has to be done before any approval comes in for us to get funded.
Wow.
And we're always at the bottom of the line because we're a small community.
Right.
You
Right.
know, it seems like we're being treated like school kids. We're graded on what level we're at in our
Yeah.
progression,
Wow.
even the plans that we have,
Wow.
and everything is an emergency. So
Yeah. So that's that's like again another level of the crises, right, that exists. And then everybody's in crises mode
yes,
all the time. Well, that's not healthy. Let's talk about health because I know that's big on your list. Your priority list is to be healthy and teach health and have health and wellness taking place. So tell us a little bit about that. And of course, a big part of it was malnutrition and diabetes and all that that's connected to the health of the community members. What can you share about that?
at the school level, because we have a school commission that handles the education, and we're amalgamated with 11 schools, and we're growing our own well, mainly lettuce and herbs, and we're supplying the goods to the schools. But it's the education that needs to be had for everybody regarding nutrition because of w- the condition that we've been conditioned that we can get everything from the store. We don't hardly nobody has any gardens. If there is, there's only a handful that people that do that. because at one time, Muscatine itself was a rich nation because of oil royalties, and now we're having to learn how to vent for ourselves. It's a big task. It all has to come from the home
Right.
to teach our young kids responsibility.
Yeah. And our young parents, because it,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
has to come from them, right?
yeah, there are programs, but they only have so many seats at a time, and then everybody's wait on a waiting list.
Hmm. So let's explain to our viewers who may not know much about the communities or the history or anything really. That's what I'm finding. Yesterday, I shared our medicine wheel, and I'm going to start doing those kinds of things because I realize that a lot of our viewers, there are people out there who can help and support, but they don't know the story. They don't know the history. They don't understand. They've probably never even been on a reservation. They have this preconceived idea of what that is, So, what do you think is the outside perspective or view on what is a reservation? What do you think is the general public's perspective of what that is or what it looks like?
Well, a lot of times, people come in and they feel they have a solution to a problem, but in they don't realize that they have to create a relationship with us and, as a community, get to know how we operate, the protocols that are needed, and
Mhm.
the people that have influence in the community or even the local government. That's the starting point, and then you can start talking about what you have to offer.
Mhm.
And a lot of times there's always a trust issue. So you have to be able to display that you're a trustworthy person. You're not just come in here to capitalize on our problem, and then you're gone forever after.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those are the problems that we face, and there's a lot of resistance when it comes to outside help.
Yes, I understand that.
And of course, the government, they have their rules of how the funding is going to be dispensed regarding services. So we, we want these services, but then there's always the policies that we have to follow.
Mhm. Mhm. So,
So,
in a way, that perception that is out there, because I know about it, because I hear these things all the time, that, well, our native people, they get everything for free and they don't pay taxes. What do you know about that? You want to have a little chuckle right now?
well, a lot of people think we don't pay taxes. Yes, if you work on the reserve, yeah, you don't pay taxes. The minute you cross the line and step into town or outside, and if you work in off reserve, you pay taxes. Those are just the perception that everything we get for free, but we don't, and we're always fighting for our rights. But everybody wants to represent us to fight for our rights. But in the meantime, we have to pay for their services to negotiate or take it to court. And in the end, nothing changes.
Hmm.
And if it changes, it takes years
Hmm.
to change policies.
Hmm. So there's also another myth. I think we could do a whole show on the myth of the indigenous people. And another myth is that it's the taxpayers' dollars that take care of all of you. I've heard that said, and
Yeah,
I've corrected that 100 times, if not 1,000 times. All of our tax dollars going to pay for that. kid's college education. I had to pay for my kid to go to school.
If
But
that was true, we wouldn't be in this situation ever, because we only get when it comes to the government, when they make an announcement on budget, and when it comes to the First Nations, they announce so many millions to be awarded to the First Nations. But they don't realize that across Canada, there's 634 First Nations. And once you calculate that, we only get not even a million. We just get so many thousands of dollars for us to operate with.
yeah, well,
And that's really a misperception on the government's part.
exactly. And that money doesn't come from our taxes. It comes
No,
from your resources that were agreed in all of those treaty rights.
I don't even want to get into treaty. It's so huge.
Oh,
But, no,
that's another show. We should.
we are treaty Indians, but we're not being treated equally as
No,
citizens.
no. But that's where that money comes from. And I just want to bust that myth that it's not the taxpayers' dollars. So two things came up for me when you were talking. It doesn't come from our tax dollars. That money comes from the promises that were the resources like oil, diamonds, coal, lumber, natural resources that belonged to you back in the day or were here for you back in the day, right?
That's
So they
another negotiating revenue sharing. Anytime a new government campaigns, that's what they throw at us, and but doesn't it doesn't happen.
no,
It
no.
takes they, they keep stalling us. They put it on the table and stall us,
Mhm.
and so we have to be very innovative on how we're going to create economy and
Right.
treat our people.
Yeah. And the second thing, when you were talking about, allotments of money that come and they have to be shared, there's 1.8 million Indigenous people right now in Canada. So 1.8 million. So you take that, so you get $1 million or you get $1.8 million. It sounds like a lot of money. That's really only $1 a person, right? When you do the math, you have to do the math because numbers don't lie,
No,
right?
because in our communities, well, yeah, we do have economy and we create jobs, but a lot of the money goes out because all the people have to create accounts in town, off reserve.
Hmm.
So it doesn't really circulate within our community. Maybe a small business, if they have it, if they get so full support, it'll stay there for a while, but everything goes out. So we have to consider that. How are we going to be able to keep our money inside for a while before it actually goes out?
Well,
To
there's a
make,
big lesson to be learned about that from the Jewish community. Because within the framework of the Jewish community, even though, um, so for example, if there's in the community, you had a barber or a hairstylist, nobody in that community would go outside. They would support that person within the community to build their business. You see what I mean? And then they got to keep all of their money within their community. And they'd lend each other money without interest. They have some very good financial concepts. We must ask Ramina to do some research for us on that because that's how they built their wealth. But what happens if somebody does start a business in the community? What generally happens to that?
yeah, they don't really I find that they 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 create wealth for themselves, whoever the business owner is. But how do you support the community? And that's one of the things that's not really organized in such a way. Okay, to support each other,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
maybe recreation programs or
Hmm.
women's programs. Just like in a city or towns, they have these leagues, but it's a group of people that are creating activity within a community.
Right. Right.
Mind you, in the summertime, there's plenty of activity when it comes to these powwows or rodeos,
Hmm.
but that only happens once a year, and there needs to be a continuation,
Ongoing.
ongoing relationship with people. Because once you put your brain together, you can make things happen.
Oh, definitely.
We
I remember back in the day when I was working in Elsipogtog in New Brunswick, that community, there were 2,500 people, mind you, on reserve, but they were spending, now this is 25 years ago, Dr. Len, they were spending $2.5 million a year just on groceries at the grocery store in the white community. And they're going, I said to them then, they have their own grocery store now, but I said, why don't you have your own grocery store and keep that here? And they would drive 18 kilometers to get a coffee at one of our favorite coffee shops in Canada. 18 kilometers, 3, 4 times a day to get coffee because nobody in the community had a coffee shop. You see what I mean?
exactly.
Right?
And, we have our own kind of gas bar where it sells gas, but
Yes.
most
Yes.
most of it is junk
Outside.
food, pop and chips and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a very good question from one of our viewers today. I'm going to put it up, but we're going to take a little 30-second break because this is where I get a chance to talk about um, what people can do to support the show and get our information out there. So I'm going to put up a 30-second little break here first. And then when we come back, I'll talk about that. And then we have a really great question from one of our listeners today. Here we go. I'm going to take a little break. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Today Show here on the Disability Channel, streaming on many, many platforms today. Our special guest, Dr. Len, former Grand Chief Leonard Standing on the road, and that little 30-second spot. And Dr. Len, you're very good at this kind of stuff, so you might think of, I have one business in mind that you and I should go and visit. But we're looking for show sponsors. Maybe you'd like to have a little 30-second ad. So if you've got a product, a program, and a service, we would feature you 3 times throughout the show. And of course, we're always open for receiving donations, but we're presently in the market. We thought, well, let's do the show for a couple of weeks and see how it grows and how it functions. And then we're going to go after some sponsorships. So I know there are lots of amazing First Nations businesses, banks, companies, and I think that we should have someone like that sponsor our Thursday show. What do you think of that idea?
That's an excellent idea because this concept of being on stream, well, it's been done by other people, but it's only growing now
Mm-hmm.
because of
Yeah,
technology, and
yeah,
we have to put the word out that this is what's happening.
absolutely.
Without having to spend a bunch of money on advertising, you can do it by word of mouth. And most of the time, that's what I do. Is it? This is what I'm doing now. If you want to join me, I can put you in.
Well, it's the best way um, to advertise anyway is word of mouth because there's a trust there. Now I see Mr. J is on our phone here. So what's he calling me for? It's showtime. Maybe to tell me that he can't be here. So just text. I'll just check and see. All
Okay.
right. So we have a question, and it's a very interesting question. And the question's coming from Kathy Bell. And Kathy Bell is one of our associates at the Disability Channel. And she just shared with me that her best friend's mom committed suicide, died by suicide, rather. I'm sorry to hear that, Kathy, because that's how devastating it knows no boundaries. And we can do a whole show just on suicide, too. But Kathy put a question up here. I thought this was a really good question. Do the Indigenous people have an idea on how to fight the wildfires? Maybe we could use their help here. And of course, we know that wildfires have been rampant in the north year in and year out. So I don't know. Let's see what Dr. Len has to say about that or who he might know.
The, the experts in Fort McMurray, they have solutions, but it's always the support that we need from the government to do all the training. There's certain amount of firefighters out there, but there's really not enough when it comes to major fires. There's a lot of the BC nations, even throughout Canada, they come and help out. And those are the, the items that's not being discussed or even put out into the media. Who comes in to help? They keep quiet about that.
I wonder why that is.
And we need to support those kind of organizations to get our young people enticed, because a lot of our young people are out there every summer. They stay out there to fight fires, and that's how they feed their family. And they go through rigorous training in physical or the methods and about safety when they're
Hmm.
working in those kind of conditions.
Wow.
And we don't bring them out in the open and say these are the people that are out there fighting fires. They're the ones that are saving us.
Yeah,
We don't give them a recognition, more or less.
right. Well, you know what, though, Dr. Len? It was no different when our Indigenous community went off to fight World War II, our veterans. And you know our channel is dedicated to veterans as well. But look at all of the Indigenous veterans who went overseas to fight World War II. And you didn't even have the vote at that time. You didn't have the right to vote till 1960. Am I correct on that?
A lot of them got into the armed forces for their own survival.
Right.
And then when they came back, some of them, they did good. They, they're able to do farming, but even farming, the government never offered any assistance. They just cut that funding out,
Right.
and we had to make do on their own.
Hmm.
Not like on the outside, you can go to financial institution and ask for help, and
Just a little dip in his internet there. We'll just hang in here for a
yeah,
minute. Yes.
and the dominant society veterans, they got all kinds of benefits, but they left out the First Nations veterans.
Imagine. Well, we
And
the
it
disability.
was purposefully, it was
Yeah.
done on purpose.
Yeah.
They excluded us.
Exactly. And that's historically what's happened in a lot of arenas, not just the military, but in other places too. Marginalized, right? And won't hire
Yeah,
you,
we're
can't
not
get a job because. So there's lots of, well, we call it systemic racism, stereotyping. We could talk about that, how everybody is stereotyped into thinking they're a certain way or conditioned.
well, the one area that I'm breaking into is the nonprofit environmental groups when it comes to emissions or maybe dealing with wetlands and everything. They don't really accept us because they can't handle the issues that we bring to the table, and they come up with a jurisdiction. Oh,
Right,
it's not our responsibility. You know, you more or less you have to go find your own or
right
create
on.
your.
Well, look who's here.
Hi,
Look who
Jeff.
came to say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jay. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're
Pretty
doing
good.
great. We're busting some myths here this morning.
No, I was saying I wasn't originally going to be scheduled to be on the show today, but I got a chance to listen, and I perfect opportunity when I chimed in because you guys were talking about the myths surrounding the Indigenous community and how people assume, and when you assume. So, Chief, I really thank you for sharing, and I love the way you started off about with relationships. I think that's so important, communicating, getting to know people, trustworthy factor, day by day, taking the time. So I really love the way you sort of said that. And then you talked about how, everybody assumes that you guys get everything for free and we're paying for you guys to live all the time, where you're just educating us on the history of your community and your people. So I really thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There are people that are really advocating for us, but they're kind of being sidelined. Uh,
Right, but
Yeah,
that'll change. That's changing. We're working on that. We're really working on that hard right now.
yeah.
And
So, like I said, by bringing in by building a relationship with your community, Chief, and helping your people, it just makes Canadians as a whole stronger because you guys have such a rich history for Canada, and I think it's a shame that more people don't know what you guys have gone through, your struggles, and how loving the people you are in your rich tradition, and how you take care of your elders, and how you take care of your families and your kids, and you just want to be like everybody else, right? You just want an opportunities like everybody else is supposed to get,
yes.
mhm.
right?
So, Jay, why don't you take a minute and just share a little bit about your educational platform at the Disability Channel for
Yeah.
viewers who may not know about it, and we're going to start introducing some Indigenous veterans to the program. So, over to you to talk a little bit about what you have to offer.
Well, it's actually, thank you for that opportunity. And actually, this morning we just received a wonderful letter for the people attached to the Evictus Games. So now we are fully on board with the production company in Belgium, which means we can move forward with our programs, offering opportunities to veterans and persons with disabilities, and of course, people within the Indigenous community. We would love to include you guys, as we think since Lori is out in Alberta, and you guys are all sort of teamed up together out there, it would be a wonderful location for the Disability Channel to plant its seed out there and help the people out west. And because the opportunities just keep on coming, I signed a book deal. So we're going to be creating more opportunities. But getting back to the program, so what we're doing right now, we met with one of the ministries. I met with like lots of ministries, but one of the ministries we met on Tuesday, we outlined how we could work together across Canada, helping our fellow Canadians. So we want to team up with 3 or 4 different ministries that can help fund our seed pilots for both persons with disabilities programs and veterans, like we duplicate here in Ontario. Our Ontario programs are extremely successful. They've been expanded, they've been extended. But like I always said, there's, all the disabled people, veterans, Indigenous people, they just don't live in Ontario. Like they live across Canada. They live across Canada. So that's what we're doing now. We're trying to form 2 pilots. And when they graduate, they have jobs waiting for them at the games. So, and there's tons more opportunities. That's why I really think through Lori and you, Chief, through your past relationship and your ongoing relationship, I think there's a wonderful opportunity when it's time to present ourselves to your people. And I just know the people in your community, like you said, I think it was Jamie who was saying it before, who, like, Jay, this is so innovative. Like, we're sort of way outside of our box, so we're very interested, but we're very like, ooh, like, wow, this is like pretty crazy stuff for us. So take it easy, take your time with us, but we're really excited learning more. So hopefully we're on the right path to that, Chief, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. So the program itself is an opportunity for people, veterans, disabled people. Well, and I think I'm going to apply because I'm actually disabled in many ways. You might not see it on the outside, but just a little humor there in terms of we all have disabilities, but we all have extreme abilities. And that's what we want to promote, is the abilities that people have. And one of the ways that you did that, Jay, thanks to you, you bring people in to learn all about the media industry. So people come out of your program with, as a graphic artist, or they're a production person, or they're a host, am I correct in that? I need you to fill in.
Yeah, let me add, that's excellent. That's a really good point, Lori. Let me ask the Chief something. So, Chief, on your reservation or within your community, do you guys have a media outlet that showcases your community on a daily basis?
No.
No.
We do have a radio station in one of our neighboring nations.
I actually broadcast there for a year.
And
Yeah.
can you tell me a little bit about that station?
It's called
Hot Radio. Look it
Hot
up.
Radio. It's we have broadcasters that speak our own language,
Oh, nice.
but it's mostly music, and I haven't listened to it in a long time.
And is it on the reserve? I'm sorry, or is it on the reserve?
Like FM and AM. I don't know if I go to Edmonton, I don't really. It doesn't reach me there. So it's a limited zone.
And yeah.
Air.
And maybe I can talk to Lori if Lori knows more about that station, because that might be a great starting point.
Lori had tried to expand it or even improve it, but there's resistance, and there's a board that controls it, and we need new blood in there to.
Yeah, I did a talk show actually, and I volunteered, and I did that for a year. And I'd go over to the great guys, I built relationships with, the guys that run it. They have had some expansion since I was there, and some new equipment and things like that. And I know that Bobby's really open. I was over to see him not too long ago, I just walked into the studio and he just put me on and we did a little interview. And he's very good like that. So I never thought about that, Chief.
Yeah.
So it's a radio station, right? But it's a limited radio station.
Yeah.
And how many people would be a part of that platform? 1, 2, 3?
You mean who work there?
Yeah.
Oh, 2 or 3. 2 for
And
sure.
is it an everyday broadcast? Do they go on every day and talk and play music? And
And if there's events, they go to an event to broadcast.
And is it only focused on Indigenous events, Indigenous people, culture?
Yeah.
That's it. Right? And it's in, like you said, it's in your native tongue, I guess. It's spoken in.
Yeah.
That's
some of
so
the fun.
interesting. Like right there, I like as a producer, as we're talking, I can just see that's a great starting point because you already have like the media connection, right? It's radio, right? So you already have that. You have a big presence, I'm sure, in Alberta, like huge, right? Like your reservations and your people itself. And I'm thinking we come through the door with employment programs so we can offer more people within your community the same opportunity that the people are doing it now, just on another level, including the radio station. Now we add in production, and we add in education, we add in government funding, and then we add in jobs. So we expand the radio station, we go more visual, we create media, and then we have all the young people or older people, doesn't matter, whoever, take the courses for free, and it can expand. You don't have to graduate and go to the radio station. You can graduate because now you got skills in media, either in front of the camera or behind, and you're connected to the channel. And what we do is we're a job creator, right? So we create jobs, in-house jobs, where I could keep people working around the clock. And if you're disabled or a veteran, most of the time you can't do 40 hours a week. I just know from experience from our graduates, they're just not able to do, but they can do 10 and they can do 15 and they can do 20 and some can do 40. I'm just sort of setting up a wonderful vision where we could help your community in so many ways, leading off with jobs, right? And then we could share your culture, we could network, we could connect your tribes right across the United States. All kinds of great opportunities, Chief.
Yes, well, we see them. That's why we're here.
This is great.
Right,
This
Dr.
is great.
Right, yeah.
So tell me this, and I'm going to let you go, Chief. Give me two things that you would like the rest of Canada to know about your culture that you don't think they don't like that. And I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, two things that maybe you would love the rest of Canada to know about your culture that you probably think they don't know.
Well, most of the time, people come to Muscatcheese. It's the whole community to learn about our ceremonies, because that's a process itself to come and ask the prayer people. I'd like to learn, and maybe they want to bring it home and to revive their community, and that they'll gladly do it. But there's a process that you have to go through, like the offering of a tobacco and maybe a gift, and we call it a sweat. It's a sauna, but in our ways to ask for blessings so everything goes right, and then the spiritual person is himself. He'll tell you the process of how to do it, but that's all private. I wouldn't know how to.
Would Lori be able to be a part of that process, or maybe she has already been? Or I mean, that would be a great story to tell.
That's a process, yeah. Itself.
Yeah, I've been there, done that many years ago.
Because
But the thing I did. Oh, sorry, Chief.
Sorry. Even to empower ourselves, there's fasting. You go 4 days, 4 nights without water and food, and if you go through that, you're well on your way if you want to continue.
And
I think I might disappear. I think I
Yeah.
might disappear if I did
There
4
you
days
go.
of fasting.
4 days, absolutely.
Well, that's working with nature and the spirits.
I'm pretty slim as it is. I don't know. I might disappear.
And I the thing I didn't know, Chief, was that was all open for people to go there and learn. I didn't realize that. I know you have a person there, and I've met that person,
Yeah.
but I wasn't aware that that was available. So
But
what
you
else?
You
What else?
have to be really committed.
Oh
to
yeah,
doing the
oh
deal.
yeah, yeah.
I think
what
you
else?
guys, I think if I came to your reservation, I think I'd probably get kicked out in about 2 minutes.
Not
No,
I think you guys would kick me out. You gotta go. You gotta go, Jay. You're too. You gotta
no,
go.
we,
I'll send Lori. I'll send Lori.
yeah,
we have white people buried in our reserve.
yeah, yeah.
But being part of the community, they lived here.
They
I would
married.
love to visit. I would love to visit.
Oh, come on out. They're not that far from me.
I
And
would.
by
Well,
the
we're
way-
coming. We're
Yeah.
gonna come.
We are.
We're coming. So this will be great.
I asked Chief if he wanted to donate a gift today because, we have our booty draw on Fridays. So before our time runs out, I would just like to ask him what he's going to give as a gift today. And anybody that's been on the air with us, comments on our Facebook pages, your names all go into a draw. And on Friday, tomorrow, we draw our prizes. So what did you decide, Chief?
Well, just give me a minute.
Yeah, okay.
So why Chief is getting the item or well, before he comes back, I just want to say, remember that we do have our Veteran Alliance International 50/50 raffle draw going on right now on our Facebook page, courtesy of the Veteran International House with Stefan and Stavros. So again, 50/50 draw is May 31st. Our last one raised $2,700. And check out our GoFundMe page. We also have that regarding for our program. So what do you got for us, Chief?
Well, I guess there's a choice.
Oh my.
I make these. These are
Look at this. He makes these. You hang
headdress,
them on
miniature headdress for your rear view mirror.
Wow, look at that.
These are plain.
That is so cool.
Isn't it cute?
And what do you do? Is that just like an ornament like you would put on your
Yeah.
shelf or something like that?
When you're a chief, you get a headdress, and it's just miniature ones.
Yes. And you just
So you put
hang
it on your mantle or
on your
something.
mirror. Yeah, you can put it on a shelf. You can put it in or hang it over your rear view mirror in your vehicle.
I have to say, Chief, that is such a really cool item. Like I've never seen anything like that. So wow, you blew me away.
There'll be more. There's more colorful ones, but this is just a plain one.
Yeah. So that's what
And
he's
this is
gonna
what
give
you
away.
do as a hobby for one of your hobbies.
Yeah.
How long would it take you to create one of those?
Oh, if I had all the material, probably an hour.
Oh, that's it.
Wow.
Wow, you're pretty fancy.
Well,
you-
I have to figure it out.
That's
And-
wonderful. Wow. I love to see one with the colors too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And something else we have to say about Dr. Len, Chief was just down to California where he received an honorary doctorate. And I nominated him and he was accepted because I was in a position to do that. But historically, history has been made. This is an international, worldwide organization that is licensed to present honorary doctorates in humanitarianism. And I received mine in 2023. So, but because of who I am, they asked me if I would like to nominate some Canadians because I was the first Canadian in this international organization. So Chief is the first Indigenous person ever to receive an honorary doctorate in humanitarianism for the work he's done in his community.
Very nice.
Just brag, brag, brag.
Very nice.
So he's a celebrity now. So now he's Dr. Leonard Standing on the Road, which is the English translation of his Cree name. When you translate his last Cree name into English, it translates to Standing on the Road. That is his
Wow. See, I love that. That's so like so
I know.
interesting. Like so interesting the way your culture has all these great like attachments and history and different sort of ways.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's great.
Cool. Well, our time is just about up, Chief. If you had a room full of 1,000 young people right now in front of you, 1,000 young people, all cultures, all backgrounds, whatever, what would be the one thing that you'd like them to know or you'd like to share with them in moving in life?
One of the things I stress is, education is not only in school, it's everywhere in life. And you have to challenge yourself to overcome your fear or shyness, Because I used to be intimidated all the time. I had to overcome that. But we're given the greatest gift on earth. That's our brain power. And if you put the brain power together with people, you can move mountains and move the whole world.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you for that. Jay, any final comment from you? You look like you're a little frozen there. Yeah, and we just want to mention that at the end of June, we've got or end of May, we have our recovery summit coming up. And Dr. Len is going to be one of our speakers at the summit. And we'll send you more information about that. Now, if you are listening to the show and you want to be in on our draws tomorrow, then please let me know. Just email me here. Better find it. So just email me to let me know that you've been listening or that you've been watching so we can put your name in for the draws, because all of our guests this week donated prizes. And if you want to reach out to Dr. Len, here is his email. Our special guest today, Dr. Leonard Standing on the road. And maybe he'll come back and visit us next Thursday. Who knows? But there's always a spot here for you on Thursdays, Dr. Len, to come and share information about your culture.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, our guest is Dr. Prince Fleet Easton, and he's going to come in and talk a little bit about his journey in show business from the age of 5 until now. He's a sexy senior and still performing. So he'll be joining us tomorrow, and we can't wait for his visit. So you might want to watch that one, Dr. Lynn, since you've met him in person already.
Yeah.
You bet. Okay, so bye for now. See you later, everybody. Talk soon.